Hello everybody and welcome to our autumnal yoga practice. So I am really looking forward to sharing this cozy and restorative practice with you. So as you can see, I have laid out, so I've got my yoga mat underneath and then my faux fur blankets on top. So we are going to be doing a floor-based restorative practice, and so it's really nice to have a lot of cushioning underneath you. So if you've got your yoga mat already laid out, I would just invite you to place something on top of your mat. It can just be a blanket that you spread out over your mat, or if you've got anything like this. Even a friend of mine uses like a very, very thin futon mattress to do her restorative yoga practice on, and she said it's really luxury. So the other reason that I do this in the colder months is that sometimes when we roll our yoga mats out, they can actually be really cold, particularly if you store them somewhere that is a little bit cooler. So it just takes that that edge off as well. If we lay down in Shavasana and we've got that cold all up the back line of our body, it's not so nice. So cushioning underneath you. What I would also love you to have for this practice is a couple of blankets. So you're going to need at least 2 blankets actually, and a couple of yoga blocks or books. And then if you have got a yoga bolster, say one of these big ones, then brilliant, we can use that. If not, then something that can create a similar sensation to a yoga bolster. So perhaps 2 bed pillows, or you might have some kind of sofa cushions that are quite thick and sturdy. So if you haven't got those things, just hit pause and go and grab them. And we're going to begin in one of my favourite restorative poses. So we're going to be coming into reclined butterfly pose, and it's going to take a little bit of getting into because we want this to be really, really supported and really, really relaxing. So we're going to need a bolster or your equivalent. If you have got more than 2 blocks, then 4 would be brilliant for this. If not, then making do with what we've got. We're going to bring our blocks, 2 blocks or books behind us, and this is going to create the structure for our bolster or our cushions. So you could just have them as I have here on their lower setting, but you could also bring them a lot taller and rest your bolster onto that. So this takes a little bit of getting it into the right place because it can topple over. So with your prop, your cushion or your bolster, you're going to place that over. I think if I'm going to do mine just on that mid setting there actually for a bit more stability. So you just want to give it a little wriggle and make sure that it feels sturdy enough. And then if you have got an extra pair of blocks, we're going to bring them to the side. Don't worry if you don't, because you can use cushions. What we're going to do is support underneath the thighs. So those could be cushions or they could be your blocks at the side. Okay. With one of our blankets, we're going to create a bind with one of the blankets. So if you can fold your blanket into almost like a strip, like this, we're then going to place the blanket on top of the feet. So it's going to go, our soles of the feet are together. Now you're going to want to do this facing the other way, so that all you need to do in a minute is lie back on your bolster. I am this way so that I can show you, okay? So blanket on top, we're then going to bring it underneath the feet like this, and then we're going to post the ends of the blanket back through. Okay, so posting through, and we want it to be fairly tight, not so tight that it's kind of digging in or cutting off circulation, but tight enough to create that supportive feeling. What this does is it just allows the knees a bit of support. So instead of them collapsing out to the sides, it hugs them in a little bit and it takes the pressure off of the pelvis. And to be honest as well, it just feels really nice to wrap the body in fabric. It feels very nurturing, nourishing and supportive. Okay, so with your bound feet, we want to then bring the tailbone right up to the edge of the bolster. We're not sitting on the bolster, we're not lifting the hips off the mat, but we want that contact there. You could have another cushion or a blanket at the top there for your head. Not everybody needs that. I like to have just a little bit of a lift. Your other blanket is going to go on top. So this is just for a little bit of weight and warmth as well. So a nice big blanket is best for this one so that we can cover our body. Okay, and then lastly here, before we lie down, we're going to have our cushions or our blocks underneath the thighs. And again, it's just to support the pelvis so that our knees aren't falling out to the side. All right. So when you're ready, we're going to lie down. Taking some time to make sure the head feels nice and supported there. Arms can rest just out by your sides, palms facing up. Now, the first few moments of this pose might actually feel a little bit uncomfortable, just because of the opening across the front of the chest and the shoulders, and because we don't tend to have our body open in such a way. What we may find is, though, that after a few long breaths, there is a softness that begins to happen and a release and a settling in. So I invite you to close your eyes and begin that process at the start of our practice. Turning our attention, our awareness, our gaze inwards. So we begin to let go of the outside world. So whatever is going on for you right now, whatever lists we may have, whatever problem solving needs to be done, we allow ourselves to let go of thinking about those things. Just for this next hour, we give ourselves permission to be present. And we begin to focus on our breathing. Starting to gently deepen each inhale. So guiding your breath down into the belly, allowing your breath to move up through the rib cage and up into the chest. And as we exhale, starting with some audible sighs, so releasing out of the mouth. Inhaling through the nose, filling the belly with our breath. Exhale to sigh it out. So every inhale, thinking about breathing in spaciousness to the body. And every exhale, think about letting go and allowing the body to get heavy. So feeling the back melting over the bolster. Breathing into the belly, finding that space. Exhaling, release. So the breath in yoga is magic. It is our life force energy. It is our vitality. And just by inviting these deeper breaths, creating the space, we help to nourish our internal organs. We help to restore our nervous system. And of course, we help to bring peace to the mind. So perhaps becoming aware now of any areas of tension, resistance, tightness as you breathe in. And try and send your breath there. So maybe it's the shoulders, maybe it's the back line of the body, maybe it's the forehead and the jaw. And again, as we exhale, just letting a softness into those areas. Keep working with your breath. Inhaling expansion and space. Exhaling release. Okay, just a few more breaths here. Okay, and then just ever so gently now, just start to bring your knees in. And I would just pause here for a moment. Feel your feet on the earth. We can gently and very, very subtly just sway the knees here from side to side. So it's just a tiny movement. And then it depends on how you're feeling. You can either just bring your hands back a little bit further behind you, press into the mat and slowly bring yourself up like that. Or you can roll to the side and bring yourself up that way. So we want to take a moment to undo our feet. So undo our bind, placing that to the side of that blanket. And place your blocks out to the side or your cushions. We can actually leave this structure behind us. So let's just sit in front of our props for a minute and have a little roll of the shoulders, a little sway of the head, and notice how you feel after that opening pose. And I'm going to invite you to bring your hands to rest on your belly, sort of below the lower ribs. And focus on that belly breathing once again. So on the exhales now, instead of sighing the breath out of the mouth, we'll just keep the mouth closed. Now that we're upright on those exhales, we can gently draw the belly in, just slightly create a little bit of tension as we squeeze the breath out. Inhale to the belly, feel that expansion. Exhale, hugging in. So the breath really is everything in our practice. And even if we just sat like this for 10 minutes and breathed in this way, we would be doing enormous things for our well-being. So the gut is known or referred to as our second brain. There's so much going on in this part of our body. And when we send our breath here, we are telling that second brain to relax. That it's okay now to switch into that rest, digest and repair mode. So our brain and our second brain begin to communicate. And then before we move into our next restorative pose, let's draw the palms of the hands together in front of the heart space and take a moment to set your own intention for this practice. So what would you like to welcome in? Feeling that intention in your heart. Releasing the hands. So what we're going to do next, we're going to come to do a little sequence of inversions, very, very supportive inversions. We're going to do the same pose on each leg, and then we're going to take it into both legs. So this support that you had under your head that you may have placed on your bolster can come here behind you. We're going to be lying the other way. So if you spin yourself round to face your bolster, we're going to take this structure and move it to the right hand side of the mat. Okay, so we're there. We're going to be extending the left leg down by the side of the bolster, and then in a minute we're going to be bringing our leg on top. Okay, so you've got that support there for your head. If you would like some support also under your left knee, you can just place a blanket under the left knee, but see how you go. If you would prefer to, you can bring yourself onto your back first before you lift your leg. Okay, so we want to just make sure that this feels nice and comfortable. So placing the leg on, and again, arms can just come out by the sides. Let's try and really relax this right leg, so you can give it a bit of a up and down, circle the right foot a few times, and then try and let it get really heavy. Equally with your left leg, let's let that leg get really heavy too. And again, the awareness here is that beautiful nourishing belly breath. If you're cold, then it is actually quite chilly here, you can place your bigger blanket on top. Okay, closing the eyes. Nice deep breaths. So allowing the sensation of draining all the way from that right foot down the right leg. And then this very subtle sensation down the front of the left hip. So we may feel this sense of release down the front there. Try and keep the back of the shoulders soft here, so just noticing if you're tensing up at all, perhaps give them a little bit of a wriggle. Relaxing the forehead and the jaw. So we're going to take about 3 more breaths on this side. Okay, and then very slowly slide your right leg so that your right foot is on the bolster. And you can go all the way up to the edge if that feels okay. And we're going to hold there for a few breaths. Again, try and relax your left leg. And if you would like to, you can bring that knee in towards the chest. You do not have to. You can just keep the foot to the bolster. But if it feels like it would be nice, beneficial to do so, drawing the knee in and feeling that release down the front of the left hip even further. Nice. Okay, from there, just taking that foot outside the bolster and bring your left knee in. So we've got both knees bent, both feet to the floor. And then if you lift up your hips and just bump them over to the left, bring your left foot over, and then we'll roll to the side. Good. So slowly bring yourself up, and we're going to bring our structure over to the left-hand side now. Okay, so exactly as we did before, if you need to rearrange anything, so I think I need to rearrange my blanket, then when you're ready, you can come down. So right leg is on the side, left leg this time is on your bolster or your cushion, your pillow, whatever it is you're using. You've got something for your head. Good. Okay, tucking yourself in, arms out to the side, palms up. Give your shoulders a little maneuver to make sure everything's feeling nice and soft and open there. And again, try and let go with the left leg. So if you need to wriggle the leg or rotate through the left ankle, wriggle the right leg, give the pelvis a little maneuver, closing the eyes, and really now focusing in on your breath. Breathing down into the belly. Those exhales are softening, releasing, the body getting heavy. heaviness and tension from the left lower leg and foot. And then that release and softening all the way down the front of the right hip. Okay, so about 3 more breaths on this side. Very, very slowly, we're going to draw the left foot down, resting it onto the bolster, just holding there. Staying there, or if you would like a little bit more, drawing that left knee in towards you. Good. Placing both feet to the mat as we did before, lifting the foot up and over and rolling to the side and coming up. Okay, so the next bit is going to require a little bit of faffing again to get it into position. Same thing with the bolster. We're going to have it now in the center. And we're going to need our other blanket. So we're going to fold this out now and cover the bolster with our blanket. So we want enough blanket to be able to wrap around our legs and tuck in, okay? So you may need to open your blankets out really wide to do this. Now you want to make sure that you've got your other blanket in reaching distance, because once we're in this position, it's going to be very difficult for you to get out. So you want to come as close to your bolster as possible. We're going to place our legs up on the bolster. It's exactly as we did before, but now we've got both. And we're going to wrap our blanket. So we're basically making our legs into a burrito. Okay, and we're going to tuck in on both sides. Okay, so tight enough that you can relax your legs and your blanket is holding you, but obviously not so tight that it's uncomfortable or restricted in any way. Okay, when you're ready, lying yourself down, throwing your other blanket on top. Just check that it feels okay. And again, arms out to the sides. So as I said, you want to really now surrender to this pose. So this is such a nice inversion because there's no effort. The blanket is holding the legs, the bolster is supporting the legs. So we get all the benefits of an inversion, but without having to do any of the effort. So it's so restorative, so soothing and calming. So with every exhale, try and just let your body get heavy and let go of gripping. Continuing to breathe into the belly. And go for about 3 to 4 more long breaths here. And then we're going to, if it's possible, if it isn't possible, try and unwrap your blanket a little bit to help you. But if you feel that you can move your feet up, the bolster and bend them in like that. Now for some people, just the action of having the legs wrapped and pulling the legs in is going to be really pinchy for the lower back. So just walk the feet slowly up or unbind your legs and come into this position. Okay, so we want to be really careful with our lower back here. So we're just going to stay in this position for a little bit of time, just to help us gently come out of that inversion. And if you'd like a bit more, what you could just do with the top blanket is just hug the blanket in so that you have then got your knees coming in towards the body, and then have a little rock here from side to side, so massaging the lower back. You can come into some circles here with that movement. Circles in the other way. Good. Okay. And then from here, that's where I would start to unbind your legs, taking them up towards the ceiling and just doing some movements here for the ankles a few times each way, and then flexing the toes up and down. Give the legs a little jiggle. Bend the knees in, rolling to the side as we have been doing, and coming up. Good. So once again, we are using our props in this position. So we're now going to come into a supported version of child's pose. So this is a great option if child's pose, where you have no props, is really difficult or challenging, puts too much pressure on the knees, or just feels way too low to the ground. This bolster is going to support underneath our heart and just take out some of the pressure. The other thing that we can do here is create a bit of padding for behind the knees as well. So if you bring your blanket now and fold it into a rectangle, or even you can have it in that shape, and we're going to bring the big toes together and then draw the knees wide, sitting up, sliding that under the back of the knees, and then just moving up towards your bolsters. This might take a little bit of working out where you want to be here. The head's going to turn to the side, so you can shift your bolster in a little bit more. And then again, if it is cold where you are, or you just want the extra bit of comfort, and this creates a really nice cocoon feeling, is to drape your bigger blanket over and then come down that way. Okay, so turning the head to the side, forearms are just bent, palms facing down, closing the eyes, and just softening, surrendering into this shape. So this is a really nice pose to breathe into the back of the heart. So breathing some space into the back of the shoulders, the space between the shoulders. On the exhale, softening the front of the heart over your bolster. And again, really leaning into that feeling of support. Letting your body be held. Connecting to the earth beneath you. So in the season of autumn, there's this real sense of things returning to the earth. Think of the leaves falling, the energy, the sap of the trees descending, all the fallen fruits and nuts. A sense of release and a sense of downward energy. turning to the earth. At this point, if you'd like to, lifting the head, turning it in the opposite direction. Okay, slowly using your hands to push into the floor to gently bring yourself up. Good. So if we release the blanket from the back, keeping the props in this position, taking the blanket out from underneath you and just push back into a tabletop position. So up onto the hands and the knees and just take some slow and gentle hip circles here. So one direction and through the other. Good. Okay, and then coming up, and we're going to move into a wide-legged forward fold. So let's grab one of our blocks. So we're going to pretty much straddle the bolster here, and with one of your blocks or even a rolled up blanket would work, you can bring your block onto the bolster and then allow it to become a support for the forehead. Forearms can just rest down and trying to not have the legs so wide that it feels like a really intense stretch. So we want this to be restorative. Relax the feet and just find some softness around the shoulders as well. Moving up and out of the lower back, so lifting, waving length through the spine as we then move into that forward fold. Deep breath, relaxing the jaw. So 2 more breaths. And slowly, again, use your hands to push yourself up. Move the hands behind you a little bit, and let's just lean into our hands and lift up through the chest. Perhaps having a little rock from side to side. Good. Okay, so we're going to now move into our final shape for this practice. So we're going to be moving into final relaxation. So here is where we're going to finally move this support with our props. So we're going to have a support for the head, could be a cushion, blanket, whatever. Your bolster now is, or your equivalent of, is going to move towards the lower part of the mat and it's going to go horizontal. You might also like to place a folded blanket, not too thick, just in front of the bolster there. And your blocks now, I think we can move those out of the way. Okay, so our top blanket is at the ready. If you would like, you can place an eye pillow to the side to grab if you've got one of those lovely lavender eye bags. So we're going to bring our knees over the bolster and then the pelvis is going to rest onto that blanket. Okay, drawing yourself down, take your time and just readjusting. So I sometimes have to pull this blanket a bit further back, allowing the feet to come out fairly wide, arms out to the side. So make sure you're warm enough. Eye pillow on if you'd like. Have a little wriggle of everything here. Inhaling to the belly. And a nice big audible sigh. So breathing in, breathing out, and closing the mouth. And just let your breath do its own natural thing now. So moving into a deeper state of rest. Allowing the mind to rest at the space between the eyebrows. Allowing the body to get heavy. Feeling the floor coming up to support you. So we're going to rest now, one hand to the belly, one hand to the chest. Breathing into these two energy centers. And then gently and slowly walking the feet in. Again, let's rest our feet up on the bolster. And then if you'd like to, you can hug the knees in. You can use your blanket to help you do that and take a little rock from side to side. And we're going to roll over to the side, pausing there, really enjoying the final few moments of that restful practice. And then using your hands into the mat to push yourself up. And just moving things out of the way. That blanket can just rest onto the tops of the legs as we find a comfortable seat. And if sitting on the floor doesn't feel right, just come up and sit on your sofa, your chair, whatever is nearby. Give the shoulders a little roll here. Close the eyes. Notice how you're feeling here at the end of your practice. Remembering the intention that you made at the start and honouring your practice by dedicating all the good energy to that intention. And then we'll draw the palms of the hands together in front of the heart. Taking a big breath in, and as we exhale, bowing forward, sealing our practice. And coming up when you are ready. We are there. So thank you all so much for practicing with me. I hope you have enjoyed that autumnal restorative practice. Know that that video is there for you to come back and practice as many times as you would like. Wishing you a really gentle, peaceful autumn time, and I will see you again very, very soon. Thanks everybody.